So I think first point is like, I mean, I see that people are saying that they're growing 26%. Is it good or bad? So let's set up the baseline first, that why it is good or why it is bad. See, we discussed last time about Databricks. I mean, that time I quoted a wrong figure, but you say they have like 1 billion in revenue. Their market cap or valuation is almost twice. Snowflake has less revenues. Their market cap is larger than that. So they are undervalued relative to peers. That is one. The second is their revenue, when we see in terms of growth, is like I said, that most of the revenue at this time is still going into data platform part. So the revenue is still growing less than at least whatever we call the peers. Okay. Their brand presence issue in B2B, we have discussed several times that a lot of people still don't know about them. That issue is not resolved yet, despite the effort. They themselves said they want to make it self-service. They want to make 10-tier offerings. They want to ensure on-demand access to developer, but it is not done yet. While other companies have, even some of the starting companies have. They have shared that they have so many modules they can plug and play in a lot of different ways, but yet they have failed to provide like a focused mass market product, which they said they should be doing themselves. They introduced data mesh in Japan, and the idea that time was that let's bring a compute to the storage. The data mesh hasn't come outside Japan yet. They have nearly 2 billion cash in hand. 2 billion cash is too much. I mean, you can simply see that 2 billion cash is pretty much the same the revenue they are going to. So the cash deployment, in my view, is pretty defensive. There, it's the lack of ideas they have for GTM to deploy. I don't know. Profitability by 2025, not good, not good. My view is that they are playing too safe, and I always believe that playing too safe is not playing at all. Okay, this themselves said that their revenue growth, I mean, they will prefer a lower CAGR but with more certainty. I mean, this is a defensive deploy. I mean, you are playing in a sector that is growing double digit CAGR in all guns blazing. Yeah, I think we do not need that kind of idea. I mean, if you want to play to safe, probably that's not a right time to do it. They said that they are engaging with institutional investors, but then they said they want them to use the products. Institutional investors don't work like that. There's a different framework. I mean, I'm a director
But
with a fund.
I thought that was actually pretty cool. He said that like they want the banks to kind of use the product and then
No, no,
invest. Like,
institutional investors don't do investment like that.
but with this one, do you think it would be a unique scenario where like Bank of Montreal, that I know is one of their biggest investors, uses the product more and then they feel comfortable buying more because they see the
No, so
value of it?
institutional, see, they have a fiduciary duty and there's a framework how to invest. Okay, that depends on their own due diligence, their market research, as well as the research and analyst reports. Okay, institutional investors just don't buy something because they see a product. Okay, because see, something goes wrong, people will put, if you do as an institutional investor, if you do something good, people will not say anything to you. But if you do something bad, people will come after you. Okay, so the way the institutional investor work is very different. Okay, they want like 20 or 30 or 50 people to recommend them to buy a stock, or they will buy a stock when everybody else is buying their stock. This is not how institutional investment works. Okay, so just setting the baseline, like, so this is why when I see a 26 or 30% growth and I see the market, I see a lot of money is left on the tables. The problems they have been saying themselves since Q1 2021, they are not being resolved yet by their own words. Okay, the the growth, I mean, they themselves said that the company is built for uncertain times. When you are built for uncertain times, why you are so defensive in uncertain times? I think that is a bit of contradiction in what they say themselves. The my impression is that there is a sense of complacency that I get, is that somehow their view is that they are doing very well. Their view is they are growing very fast. Their growth is pretty good, and when we see it related to peers, we don't find it that strong. Okay, I think that is, if you address and you say, okay, this is the issue I'm having, for example, like a self service or 10 tier module, and you have been saying it for more than 1.5 years now, and you have been in the industry for around 18 years and it is not sorted out yet, yeah, I think you should take some blame for that. Okay, every Tom, Dick, Harry company that is coming to market today has a 10 tier offering. So with 2 billion in cash, with one of the leading company in data and platform space, if you do not have a thin tier offering, I think it needs. I mean, it needs some sort of introspection.
Before
Actually,
before I get to Chris, is there any thesis changing things that happen in this quarter for you?
uh, see, the impression I get is that I have to tone down my projection for Palantir. I mean, still it's a good company. I mean, they can still sort out some of the go-to-market issues they have. Okay, they have been delayed on that. They still have a lot of cash. They're not going bankrupt. I mean, their revenue growth in US market is increasing. Okay, I mean, one of the chart that they are showing on the shareholder letter, where you see that US growth revenue from new customers, and it looks very sexy. But guys, we need to remember. I mean, it looks sexy because 4 years back they were not even having enough people to sell to Salesforce. So it's just a normal investment in sales that is giving it. Is it better than peers? We don't know that part until and unless, because what matters is the top line, and top line is the revenue. Okay, if you have revenue, if your revenue is not growing, it doesn't matter what kind of financial engineering and how the capital allocation is done internally. The revenue, see why Amazon became such a successful company, or why Google became such a successful company when people on the Wall Street were writing obituaries about these companies. And yeah, because they were pumping revenue like anything. When we talk about today, like Facebook or Google, or I mean, these are like cash generating machines. In software and SaaS business, there is no bigger metric than revenue, because this is a business by nature, by design, is a high operating margin. Okay, you can scale it fast. So that is the only one metric, if you have to look for Palantir, is the revenue metric. Okay, and if you don't get it right, yeah, I think you're missing the magic here.
Chris, thoughts after Carp? Anything Carp said that stood out to you?
Um, Snowflake and Databricks are going to eat Palantir's lunch all day, every day for the next 10 years. Palantir, officially, in my opinion, is no longer a SaaS company. They're a defense company with a little bit of commercial offering on the sideline. Clear as day, you can tell all the products that they have, they're all geared toward defense, right? If right now this company doesn't split itself off into the commercial side and tries to hobble that commercial side along with this defense thing, it's not going to work out. I'm telling you right now, they need to split the company, do it now before you keep trying to integrate. The fact that he had to outright say people hate us on a conference call, they don't like working with us, but they're forced to because we have a great product. Well, guess what? You need to change the mindset. Take the commercial, take it out of the equation, let it stand on its own, let it have its sales force that actually can sell the product and actually make the product a thin version like it should be. If they don't do that right away, literally Snowflake and Databricks, who hasn't even gone public yet, is going to eat their lunch. All right, based on what I even read on a lot of their slides, they're like, oh, we don't even focus on small customers. We only want big customers. Okay, guess what? Databricks doesn't care. Snowflake doesn't care. They'll go after every single customer they can possibly get, because eventually those small customers become mediums, the mediums become large, and the large becomes mega companies. The fact that Palantir right now can't even get companies to work with it on the large side, not a good look. And especially right now, every future projection that he just outlined was pretty much all growth on the government side, very little growth on the commercial side. So I don't know what their intentions are with trying to keep this amalgamated product together, that they want to call a SaaS company, but they're not a SaaS company. They're a defense contractor with some SaaS offerings on the side.
You didn't feel anything when they said their software is highly differentiated, other companies can't replicate that stuff? I mean, I know like the numbers aren't great in earnings, and I know Carp was being a little bit arrogant, but do you like to not call them a SaaS company? I don't know. I feel like that's a little extreme given the technology they're offering.
They are a defense SaaS company. Let's go there. There you go. Right? If they're trying to become the software prime, they're not saying we want to be a Microsoft. They say they want to be a defense software prime, right? So go ahead, be a defense software prime. Only focus on government clients. See where that gets you. Because I can tell you right now, it's a much slower growth pattern. Even he hates the fact that he has to has to do that. I say right now, split the company up, let commercial stand on its own, let it hire its sales reps, let the government side do its thing. Palantir version that we have right now is perfectly fine for the government side. Split the commercial, split the technology, do cross licensing, and call it a day. Don't hobble this thing along that you've created where you're projecting out growth that's not going to be there. It's got a lot of legacy negative sentiment behind it, and that's exactly why you can't be a defense contractor and a commercial contractor at the same time. It's just even if you look at it from an institutional standpoint, some institutions and a lot of them have mandates that they can't invest in companies their primary focus in defense. Go ahead, Sachin, tell them, because they're just say if you're a pension fund with $1 billion, you want to put some money into Palantir, and Palantir is like, oh yeah, you know what? We're also like working on technology that is going to kill
So,
terrorists. Boom, right
real
there.
quick
You're a
before we go
defense
to
company.
Sachin, are you still going to DCA, or are you a little bit less? You're not as excited to DCA anymore.
I
You
am
got to rethink
somewhat
it for a while.
reluctant. I got to rethink it. I'm gonna have to mull it over. I do think that I wish I still had my puts so I can unwind some of my shares, but it's okay. That happens. And more than likely, I'll probably end up DCing into snow, like I was talking about on our podcast. And like I said, for me, my intention was always if Databricks goes public, sell half a Palantir, buy into Databricks. That just turned into sell 75% of Palantir, buy into Databricks. I'm not one to hold on to losers for a prolonged period of time. My capital is worth way more to me than giving money to a CEO who obviously is pounding the table because he's frustrated on things, right? That like you could hear the pounding on the table, right? But I'm telling you, that's the difference between someone who's business minded and someone who's idealistic. Alex Karp is an idealist. He's not a business guy. He never was. He's been a CEO and he's founded a great company. He's able to get a whole bunch of smart people together into one room and build an amazing product. But I don't think he knows how to commercialize the product the same way other people do. And that's no fault on him. That's, trust me, everyone's got different different ways of doing things. I think right now Alex Karp could do very well in the defense side. He's got the ideal mindset that you want to have on the defense side. But if at the current way that I'm seeing Palantir, its commercial prospects are much lower than what a lot of people are expecting, and that's why the total addressable market for Palantir just got really small, really small.
Sachin?
No, I agree with Chris. I mean, if you want to be recognized as a commercial SaaS company, okay. I mean, I do rate them as a SaaS company. I mean, but their growth is nowhere near to it. Okay. My view is that, like I said, I mean, they're coming up very defensive. Okay. I don't know what's the reason look for that. I mean, if you see, we few reasons we like Palantir is that we talk about Peter Thiel book 0 to 1, okay, which talks about like how to build the monopolies. Okay. And when we talk about Peter Thiel example, I think the one company that embodies and everybody talks about is a Palantir is built on the principle of 0 to 1. If it is built on the principle of 0 to 1, it is not adhering with it. Okay, that's the one point. The second is that yeah, I mean, who has got more hate than Elon Musk? I mean, people have made joke for him for 20 years, and see, look at what the guy has done. And this is why, I mean, I have been always saying that, I mean, Alex Karp, I like him a lot, strong CEO, but definitely not Elon Musk type. And so that's the issue. I mean, your people don't like you, so what? People have to buy your product. See, I'll tell you an example of the Oracle. Like when I talk about senior executives about Oracle, people who are using Oracle, they hate Oracle. They say it's a company with a very poor service, customer service, very terrible attitude, and all that. But they use it because a lot of time they do not have solutions for it. So that is not an answer that people don't like you. I mean, yeah, people don't like you. Yeah, I mean, but a lot of people don't even know you. What's the solution for that? So, and as long as I think the US government scenario is concerned, Yeah, I mean, it's the government is not going to change in next 2.5 years, so it is what it is. So commercial, everybody see any number you see when you talk about like digital twin market, when you talk about like IoT market, data platform, data mesh, data fabric, everything is like growing at a 15%, 20%, 38%. AI is growing like 40% per year. So when you are saying that you are a company that is going to put all of this together to solve the problems which no one has solved yet, and a lot of people have not realized yet, a lot of time the example comes to me that, have you ever thought that you might have a problem which you are not able to realize yourself?
Hey guys, I gotta head out. I'll see you later, all right?
All right, Chris. Thank
See
you.
you, man. Take care.